What is up, everybody? What is up? Welcome back to the Science of Flipping. I am your host, Justin Colby, and as you can see, I have another incredible special guest, expert real estate investor, Mr. Brad Chandler. And Brad, before we get to you, before I introduce all of your accolades, I want the individuals that might be here for the first time to go by thescienceofflipping.com. I have a free book. I have opportunities to join our masterminds. I have documentation. I have a bunch of free stuff that I am giving to you guys as loyal listeners to the Science of Flipping podcast. And I want you to just go over there and download it all for free. Scrape my stuff. This podcast is all about being able to develop better investors, better entrepreneurs, so that you can build a business by design, so you can live the life that you want to live, to get rid of your boss, to have financial freedom, to be like Brad and be in a lot of different markets and just absolutely crushing it. So go to thescienceflipping.com, download the book, download all of the free stuff. Love to help you out on any systems, tools that I can bring to your table. So that is that. Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, I want to, this guy doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. If you are in the real estate investing space, you have heard about Brad Chandler and his Express Home Buyers community. He is out of the Metro DC area, specifically Virginia, Brad. But with no further ado, man, what is going on? How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks so much for having me, and look forward to speaking with you and your guests today, or your following.
Following. Yeah, we got 10,000 plus downloads every single week. So this thing's cranking for sure. So
awesome.
Give everyone, you and I have just recently had a chance. I think we've known each other about each other for roughly 3 or 4 years now. And I think we've even gone across communication lines. But why don't we just start from square one about your start in the industry? And introduce yourself to my listeners. And I know a lot of my listeners know my story, and I went from broke, busted, and disgusted and having no money and sleeping on couches to being able to build what I've built in the 7-figure businesses I've built here. So why don't you give everyone the opportunity to learn a little bit about you and how you got started?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go way back, and I'm gonna tell you the abbreviated version because it's a long story. The abbreviated version is my folks got divorced when I was 10. And my dad kind of left us without much money. And my mom was a nurse, and she used to take me to public housing to see patients. And after the money started running out, when she got divorced, she had like $3.69. It's like an amount she still remembers today in her checking account. That's all she had.
Wow.
Had a house and 3 kids to take care of. So at one point in time, after the divorce or during the divorce, she's like, we may lose the house. We may have to move into public housing. And that was like devastating to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to leave this nice house in my neighborhood. And it wasn't that great of a house. It was a middle income house. So I think that really, really shaped me as a young kid. And it made me very scary. It made me very scared. It made me very motivated and driven. So I started selling blow pops when I was in 7th grade. I'm like, I got to figure out a way to make money. 9th grade, I read a book on how to buy real estate with no money down. Knew that real estate was my path because I realized it had unlimited income potential.
Did you say in 9th grade?
9th grade, yep. And
Holy.
I knew right then I wanted to do real estate. So I went to undergrad at Virginia Tech and got my degree in residential property management with a concentration in real estate. Came out, worked for an apartment REIT. Wasn't a corporate guy. Didn't want to climb the corporate ladder. Went back, got an education in real estate. Got my MBA at University of Wisconsin. In late 2002, an investor bought my neighbor's house in Vienna, Virginia. I went and talked to him, and he goes, yeah, I buy houses at 20, 30% below market, fix them up and resell them. I'm like, wow, I got 2 degrees in real estate. No one ever taught me you could do that. I thought you got rich in real estate by buying a house, putting down 25%, getting a bank loan, letting it pay off for 30 years, and then sell it and hopefully depreciate it. So now we're December 2002. I'm like, I'm going to make this work. I had a son that was just born, newborn son. I'd worked my full-time job. At this time, I was working for a developer. Come home at 6, come to bed at 8 o'clock, work from 8 to midnight, pounding We Buy Houses signs on poles, sending in address envelopes, you name it. But I couldn't get a deal.
Okay.
Month went by, weeks went by. I'm like, this is crazy. Literally month after month after month after month. But every freaking day, I got more and more resolute. I'm like, if these other guys can do it, I'm going to do it. And it paid off. In July, I bought my first house. Somehow in July and August, I bought 6 houses. I quit my full-time job in October. And here we are 13 years later, and we've done 2,300 houses.
That's awesome.
That's
Dude.
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, that's right. I think the key here, and I have a very similar situation. I mean, obviously, I would say, you kind of went more the corporate route where I did not, but at the end of the day, the fortitude and tenacity is what really made you. It was that if you believed someone else could do it, that you knew you could do it. And I had a very similar story, right? Do you remember back in the day, about 10 years ago, because that's when I got started, the first YouTube videos of like, we made this, the guy with the leopard hair.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
we
know.
made this check, the whole
Yeah.
short sale riches and Chris and Nathan. And I saw that video. And I literally said to myself, if this kid can do this, I'm in and I'm going to crush it. Right. I mean, I have a very same kind of story. Like, dude, I know I can do this business. And the reality is it took me 9 months. How long did it say it took you?
8 months.
Yeah.
8 months to get my first deal. Yeah.
And, I think I made $7,000.
And don't you wish, because we both coach, don't you wish that you could just take people and grab them by the neck and be like, look, man, or look, lady,
yeah.
You can do that. You can do this. You know why people can't do it? And it took me my whole life. I was like just enthralled with the idea of why were some people successful and why were others not? People came from broken homes were successful. People that grew up in the life of luxury were failures. Why was that? I was like, when I figured out I'm going to write a book, well, it was in the last 6 months I figured that out when I was trying to develop this coaching program. It's mindset. It's complete mindset. It's what you wake up and tell yourself every day. And you've got a choice. You can tell yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm a loser. I can't learn. But it's just as easy to tell yourself, I may not be the smartest person in the world, which is me, because my SATs and my PSAT scores, I'll never tell them because they're so embarrassingly low. But I always believed that I could do it. And I was no smarter than the next guy. I just told myself the right things. And I still continue till this day to do that. I'm taking on bigger projects. I'm scared. I'm nervous. But I just say, I can do it. I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And if more people could just do that.
Well, that's why, especially in our coaching programs and everything, mindset stuff is built into it. Because the reality is 95% of this game is the mindset, to your point.
It is.
The technical, tactical, how you fill out a contract, talking to a seller, that stuff is tactical and is technical, but that's 5% of it. At the end of the day, you have to be able to overcome the no's and have the fortitude and tenacity and courage and, fall down and fail and get back up. And that's the part that really bridges the people from that make it in this business to the ones that don't. And the ones that don't, it's not that they can't, they just give up. They don't have the tenacity. They're not willing to put forth the effort that it takes to get to that next level.
Amen, brother. And I bet you the people from the outside, the outsiders looking in, will look at the successful folks, us successful folks, you, the Sean Terrys of the world, and they'll look at them and they'll go, that guy was smarter, that guy's smarter than me, or that guy had a bigger opportunity. And the reality of it is, it's not. It's just that we think differently.
Yep.
And it's not that we think differently smarter. We just say, okay, here's a problem. We're going to freaking solve it. If it took you 9 months, it took me 8 months, I could have given up. Jack Canfield, 121 publishers to get his first book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, published. What if he had stopped at 7 or 20 or 111th? He wouldn't have become, he's changed people's lives. Oh. Just don't give up, people. Just don't give up.
Yeah. And to your point, you're a coach, I'm a coach. Like the tactical part we can give you guys. Keep listening to this podcast. Listen to this episode. Rewind this episode. Listen to it again. I have 110 other episodes. Go in there, and that is literally, I give away the entire business at all times, from negotiating to buying to raising money to whatever, right? It's all there. And it's just about, you have to be able to get into a place to give yourself a shot, right? Because if you don't get into the place to give yourself a shot, you'll never get there. And the reason why is people don't want to take that risk. There's a book I'm reading that talks just about this. It's called Unfuck Yourself, right? It's an incredible book, but it talks about how, we all have rough days, but what makes people get through them versus let it affect themselves. And it's just the ability to realize, whatever this circumstance is, the breakup you're going through, the divorce, the failed business, the firing from your job, you always get through it. Every time you get past that, in 2 or 3 years from now, you're like, oh, whatever. You don't even think about it anymore because it's so far in the past. But in the moment, it's that crazy, oh my God, this is crazy. It just speaks to this point of nothing is that big, right? And not that important. So just go out and do it and fail a bunch. At the end of the day, I bet you would agree with this point. The reason why you and I are in the places we're in today is because we've failed more than the other people who have never even tried.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh my
Right?
God. I mean, I've made millions and I've lost millions.
Totally. I mean, you might, and I want to get into more of your story, but my story about the development. I mean, it was supposed to be an $8 million payday for me, and it ended up being a $400,000 loss. Like, talk about that was a brutal beating. But at the end of the day, I learned from it. I survived. I'm still here. I'm doing this podcast with you, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that bad. So
I lost $932,000 on one house.
You lost $932,000.
Yeah, it was a house in North Arlington, and we were going to subdivide it and tear it down. We went hard on the deposit. 9 months into the entitlement process, the consulting firm came back and said, "Oops, we made a mistake. It's a corner lot, so you can't subdivide." That was in 2005. So we held it to 2006, 2007. The market dropped. We literally lost $932,000 on one house.
Oh, yeah, buddy, huh?
Yeah.
High five. Yeah. That's a good.
And I'm laughing about it because what are you going to do? I could complain and cry about it every day, but it was a good lesson. And since then, we have gotten back into development, and we've actually made that money back and more because now we don't do things stupidly. We take our time and we connect with the right people.
And you research a little bit. We did we didn't lose $900,000, but we just did a deal that we thought it was going to be a better play than it was. And the reason why it wasn't the best play is because it was literally one street away from the target area that we wanted. And we just didn't ask enough of the right people that really, really, really knew that area. And so we're going to make money on it. But we thought it was this grand slam home run, like the greatest, right, to finish off the year. And we'll still make good money. But it goes back to the point of, asking the right people, learning the lesson to now we know if we're going to make this play, we're adding square footage, we're doing all this kind of cool stuff to create the value. But we should have asked some of the more stronger experts in that area to realize we're literally one street off of what we wanted to be. And that's how, the territories go. So it goes back to that learning. You can earn and you can learn. And sometimes your learning is going to be your biggest ability to learn or earn. I'm sorry.
Right.
So let's kind of talk about, what you do in your specialty, because you have a very strong presence there in the East Coast. I mean, everyone from New York to Florida has heard about your company. You're very known out here in the West Coast. I mean, I'm out here in Phoenix, and I've heard about you for years. And I guess maybe even taking a step back and talking about how we were just, 3 or 4 weeks together in a mastermind up in Sedona, which was absolutely awesome, right? It was life-changing, and I met some business people along with yourself that are going to progress together and going to do some pretty cool stuff. I mean, we're already doing business together from 3 weeks ago.
It's awesome.
And 5 years ago, we were a part of the same mastermind as well. And so I think, one thing that people have to realize is you need to get around the right people, right? It's, your network is equal to your net worth. And it really becomes true the bigger you get and the more you move. When you're starting, you should be in hustle mode. I truly believe that. It's grind mode, it's hustle mode, it's every meetup group, every RIA group. It's getting around the people. Join masterminds, right? Get involved with people. Even these meetup groups that are every night of the week. Get around people and make those connections. And that really can help project people to the next level. And so kind of what has been your secret of success as you've grown for the last, you said about 13 years or so, to get to this level of doing 2,300 homes?
Well, it's been, you asked earlier, how am I so well known? It's the marketing, frankly. I mean, we spend millions of dollars a year on marketing.
Yeah.
We didn't start out spending $1 million. When I bought my first house, I had a negative $80,000 net worth. So I had to do all the things that everyone else is out there struggling. I was doing bandit signs and hand addressing envelopes, like I said, but it was just a progression. What I did is I created systems and processes. I hired great people. And then I just started adding more and more marketing and refining the systems. And in December of last year, we were renovating 85 houses at any given time, spending $10 million a year on construction. And we couldn't handle it. It was a brutal, brutal nightmare. So we're like, there's got to be a better way. So in December of 2016, we switched to wholesaling, and now we wholesale everything. So our business is completely streamlined. It's completely scalable now. We've cut out a lot of the risk and exposure that we had. Things are just so much different. And we're continuing to grow, and we want to become, we want to be in multi cities, and maybe one day a national company. So it's just all about the people, processes, and the systems you have. And you got to market. In any great business, you got to market. And some people don't put enough emphasis on marketing in this business.
I truly believe we are in a marketing and sales business. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I know it. Now, when you're doing rehabs and adding square foot, yeah, now you're more in the real estate space. But if you're not doing that and you're more in the wholesale space and you're not physically swinging the hammer and you're not adding square footage and creating value, you're really just in a marketing space. And it is the most important thing for us to understand, whether we're just starting and you're out there just starting, or whether you've done, I've done over 750 deals in 10 years. You've done over 2,300 in 13 years. I mean, the more people you can get in front of, whether you're door knocking, whether you are cold calling, whether you're doing voicemail drops, whether you're doing direct mail, whether you're doing PPC, SEO, bandit signs, I mean, it doesn't matter how big your spend can be. You also have to put forth the effort, right? And so people always look at you or me, and you mentioned you're spending $1 million a month, and I'm not spending $1 million a month. I'm spending roughly 40 grand a month in marketing, but
no, I mentioned millions a year. We're spending over $200,000 a month. Still a big number.
Still a huge number, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there like, I can't even relate to you guys. That's not relatable, right? To the person who's like, I have $2,000 in my bank account. What am I supposed to do? Well, the reality is, just like all the big companies do, they still send direct mail. You still see bandit signs out there. You still see people going door to door selling stuff, whether it be, like credit card processing. I mean, there's a lot of sales companies that are still door to door. And the reason why they exist is because it still works.
Right.
And if you get in that space, you got to be able to understand it's about a volume game. You need to talk to as many people as you possibly can.
You got it.
Yeah. So what is if you're talking to the newbies out there and you're saying, okay, here's what I would do if I had to start all over again, if I was 80 grand negative of net worth, if I had the same situation, how would you help these listeners who are maybe just starting get into this game right now?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. You start with a great follow-up system. Don't spend a dollar, a dime, a penny in marketing till you have a great follow-up system. And it just so happens to be that we're in the greatest time in the history of the world for starting and growing a business because of technology costs. There are platforms out there for $100, Freedom Soft. I mean, there's tons of them. REI Black Book, tons of them. For $100, you get a month. You get a really good product. 20 years ago, it would have cost you $500,000 to develop technology like that. Mm-hmm. So get your follow-up system, spend $100, get your website, spend another $100 a month. On Carrot, Trevor Mock, there's Danny Johnson at Lead Propeller. Same thing out there, $100 a month, if that, $50 a month if you want to get the one website. So you've got your follow-up, you've got your website, and then start just what you said, bandit signs, door knocking, direct mail, and get really good at sales, learn sales. There's enough stuff out there for free that you can learn if you want to, or you can, hire one of us and we'll coach you how to do it. Yeah. But it's a simple business, Justin. I mean, this. It's have a good follow-up system, market and get the people into your funnel, follow up, get them under contract, and then go find a cash buyer and say, hey, cash buyers, I've got a deal here. And people are always like, well, how do you find cash buyers? Well, we know this. When you get a deal, anywhere in the country, give me a deal. I'll have it sold in an hour because deals are easy to sell. That's the easiest part of our business is selling the deals. Now, you got to know the ins and outs so you don't get burned, but that's the easiest part. So follow-up system, market, and then just keep following up with these people. Follow up. We closed leads that we got 7 years ago.
Totally.
We closed 10 deals last year from calling back missed phone calls. It's all about follow-up and marketing. We are sales, and we talk about it all the time. We're a marketing company. It just happens to be that we are in the real estate space.
That's exactly right. And the more you understand that and more that you believe that, the better off you're going to be because it's a people game. You got to get out there. And it's not always pretty, right? I mean, I deal with a lot of people that are just beginning, right, in Phoenix because this is such a hot market and real estate investors are everywhere and they all want to be real estate investors. The reality is it's not always pretty to start. right? You're
No.
kind of eating the shit, as they say, because you just got to get going. You don't have a lot of money. I came from literally no income. I was let go of my house. My repo man took my car. Like, I had nothing, but I would cold call all day long. And I just had the tenacity to say, I don't care if you say no. You don't hate me. You're not going to kill me. So just either say yes or say no, but I'm going to get out there and get in the world of real estate investing. Right. And so
I love it, man. Good work.
yeah. So listen, you talked about your book. I'd love to give people a little bit more about Brad Chandler and Express Homebuyer. And guys, if you look this guy up, you are going to be thoroughly impressed. But tell everyone where else to find more information about you and your book and all of that.
So bradchandler.com, I have a free ebook. It's called Wholesaling Secrets. Discover the one technique we use to close over 200 wholesale deals a year consistently. So they can go to the website, bradchandler.com, or they can text the word invest to 855-999-1616. And then if you want to check out our Express Homebuyers website, just Google Express Homebuyers. We'll come up, in the first 10 pages of Google all over the place.
Oh yeah, you're huge. Now, one thing that you and I have been talking a lot about is there's an issue out there in the real estate investing world that I want to bring to light to a lot of these investors is there's kind of a bully out there right now that's coming around, and something that we do, whether it's your bandit sign, whether it's your direct mail marketing, whether it's your websites, whether it's your PPC, is we buy houses. That is a term that is very general, very broad, and it is what we do. And there's someone out there who has trademarked this. And it's something that as a community, you, myself, a lot of other big names that a lot of you guys out there listen to on podcasts, follow, maybe even get coaching from, we are we are banding together to say this isn't really fair for you to be able to say, I own this generic as hell term, and then not allow us to use it. And so you're leading the charge in this. You are definitely in the trenches day-to-day dealing with this. So talk a little bit about this and what the people can do to kind of take this kind of bully out of this space.
Yeah. So Jeremy Brandt owns a company called We Buy Houses. And in 2005, it wasn't even him. Before him, somehow We Buy Houses was trademarked. So that's number one issue, is how in the world could a generic term that's been used since the 1800s be trademarked? So that's one issue. In 2013, around 2013, he bought WeBuyHouses.com and began enforcing a trademark. The second issue, real big issue, is that the trademark that he has is only for educational and printed materials. What he did is he stepped over his bounds and he went out and he went after people such as myself and all the other friends and investors that we know, Justin. And he started taking down YouTube channels, YouTube pages, Facebook pages, Twitter accounts. Some people relied on these Facebook pages to actually get deals. I mean, they were generating deals. So he literally last year took down 100 of my YouTube, highly ranked YouTube videos. And I said, hey, you took down these videos. You don't really even have a trademark for it. And it didn't go anywhere. So I said, you know what? I know this has been going on for years. No one has stepped up. It's affected me. I need to step up for the good of the community. Like no one else is out there. So I took on this lawsuit. We are suing to cancel the trademark. We have trial set for March in federal court in Virginia. And I need every investor out there to step up and help the financial, it's because anyone has been through litigation understands it's very, 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 very expensive. So just looking for more donations. We've raised some money, but we have a long way to go. If you don't use We Buy Houses in your marketing, you're crazy, because it's the number one search seller keyword term online right now. So if it hasn't affected you, there's a chance it will. So whether you can donate $25 or $2,500 or $5, whatever it is, you can do that by going to bradchandler.com/trademark. And that will forward to our GoFundMe page where you can donate.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of our community. I'm personally invested, as I told you, I'm going to donate a large sum of money to this. This affects our industry. And if you're out there and you're looking to get into the industry, if you're in the industry and you didn't know or were not aware, this is very important. And again, whether it's $5, $25, $500, $1,000, whatever you can, this is going to be a very expensive bill. And as a friend, I didn't want Brad, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and we're standing by Brad and helping financially to help this, because if this is something that we're all joining forces on, this is a serious fight. So we'd really love for you guys to go there. Whatever you possibly can is just going to help, because it's too generic, it's too general, and it's just not fair to the rest of the entire community to do this. So.
And if you're literally flat broke and you can't afford like $25, which is, a couple cups of coffee, do this for me. Go to that page and promote it. Like push it out to your network and say, hey guys, we got to get behind this. Anything you can do, please do. Because I've taken this on. It's been anyone involved in litigation knows it's expensive, it's timely, and it's stressful. So I've taken all that burden on for you guys, the community, the investor community, because we don't have the National Association of Realtors that has a multi-million-dollar PR and lobbying budget behind us. So this is completely grassroots. So anything and everything you can do, I'd really appreciate it. And Justin, I really appreciate your support.
Of course, brother. Of course. Well, again, one last time, where can people find you? Get the book. Make sure they're very clear on where to find you in the book.
BradChandler.com. It's on the homepage, and the trademark issue again is bradchandler.com/trademark.
Perfect. Love it. All right, guys. Well, Brad, I know you're super busy. It's getting late out there on the East Coast, so I'm going to let you go. Really appreciate you being on, man. I really do appreciate you spending this time with me and the loyal listeners of the Science of Flipping.
It was great. Thank you.
All right, guys. That is it. My man Brad is out of here. I'm out of here. We're going to see you on the next episode. Again, if you need anything, if you have any questions, if you have questions about any of this, just email us at info@thescienceofflipping.com, info@thescienceofflipping.com. Love to help you out, but make sure to go get all the free stuff you can over at thescienceofflipping.com. We're out of here. Peace.
See ya.